Welcome back. I hope you will enjoy the content of the video. If you do like the content, then please do click the subscribe button and hit the notification bell to stay informed of future updates. Alien abductions. Since the 1960s, we have heard stories in the media about people having strange experiences during the night, being taken from their beds by short beings with large heads and big almond-shaped black eyes. We call these individuals experiencers. It can't be denied that unexplained objects are being filmed and photographed across the globe on a daily basis. What used to be a blurry picture is now clear and high quality. Even governments are starting to acknowledge the phenomenon is real. In the past, people who mentioned the word UFO were often faced with ridicule or laughed at before being presented with a foil hat. However, those days, to the most part, are gone, and rightly so, as individuals are having real experiences, sometimes quite traumatic and frightening, as we're about to see in the following 3 cases. Whitney Strieber. Whitney was originally a fiction author. Then on the night of December 26, 1985, he was taken from his remote cabin in upstate New York by beings who were able to enter his home without so much as triggering the alarm system. Whitney would later recount the events that took place that night, after undergoing sessions of regression hypnosis. His experiences initially were quite traumatic.
People who have had this experience, and there are a lot of them, aren't going to be that skeptical. They know that an extraordinary thing can happen. I saw these things, but what they were, I don't know. I woke up and saw one of them standing in the doorway of the bedroom. These small beings, about 3 or so feet tall, came into the room and it carried me out. My body was tingling. I was semi-mobile. I wasn't really able to move my arms and legs.
While aboard the craft, Whitney underwent a number of procedures. These would affect his everyday life.
Afraid of my own shadow, unable to sleep deeply enough to really be healthy. I reacted like someone who had been attacked. They had large, dark eyes, long, thin faces. They came back a year later, and I had another interaction with them. So I went with them voluntarily this time because I was less afraid.
Whitney would later put pen to paper and share his experiences in the best-selling book Communion. This was followed up by another bestseller, Transformation. If you're interested in finding out more, I've posted the link to Whitney's website in the description box below. Number 2. Travis Walton. Travis is from Snowflake, Arizona. At the age of 18, he had an experience that would change his life forever, when he, along with 6 others, finished up work one November day.
It was November 5th, 1975. There were 7 of us out there. We got the crew boss, Mike, Ken Peterson, Dwayne Smith, John Gillette, Alan Dallas, and Steve Pierce. Long, hard day cutting trees and starting to get dark, and we all got into this crew cab truck. And we're driving down this rough dirt road out of there, and we saw some lights coming through the trees, just little glimmers at first. The closer we got, the stranger it seemed, because it was coming from above where I figured the top of the ridge would be. When we finally got around the trees to where we could see it, there was kind of a break, an opening there, and there this thing was, you know. It was just unmistakable. It was a metallic object hovering in the sky there, less than 100 feet away. So I jumped out of the truck and started towards it, thinking it would be gone before I got close. Felt this shock go through my body. It's kind of like an electric shock, and I just blacked out. The guys in the truck said that a bolt of energy came out of the bottom of this craft and hit me in the upper body, and it threw me back through the air.
After the others left, Travis was taken up into the craft. He was missing for 5 days. The 6 other guys would be faced with some pretty hard questions when it was assumed that he had been killed and his body hidden somewhere in the forest. However, they all stuck to the same story. Travis was eventually dropped off by the aliens. He then found a public call box, and when his family went to pick him up, He was very dehydrated and scared. He would later recount the missing 5 days. This involved being on the craft, medical procedures being performed on it. He would describe the beings and his surroundings. His story became world famous. Books, documentaries, and a Hollywood movie have been made about this incident. To this day, Travis still talks publicly about his experiences. All of the crew have passed lie detector tests. None have ever changed their story. This is still regarded as one of the most credible abduction cases brought to light. To find out more, go to Travis Walton's website. The link is in the description below. Number 1. Betty and Barney Hill. On the night of September 19, 1961, Barney and Betty Hill were driving to their home in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. On a remote stretch of road, they saw something strange in the sky.
Suddenly, we began to see a strange light in the sky, which was maneuvering in a very erratic pattern. This light began flying along beside us. Barney walked towards it, looking up through the binoculars, and he could see a red light on each side and figures standing behind the double row of windows. He panicked and he ran back to the car, saying they planned to capture us and we had to get out of there.
Barney and Betty drove home. Once they arrived, they noticed both their watches had stopped. The couple had also lost 2 hours of time that they couldn't account for. They would eventually undergo hypnotherapy, and gradually the gaps in time were filled in when they discovered what actually happened in those 2 missing hours.
Beings that had been on the craft were now standing in the middle of the road, a dirt road, blocking our way. They separated, came up on each side, took us out of the car, and at that point, I realized that they undoubtedly planned to take us on board.
Betty was shown a star map by the leader of the craft.
When I asked the leader where he was from, he asked me if I knew where I was on the map. And I told him no. And so he said if I did not know, then there was no point of trying to explain it to me.
While on board the craft, the couple both underwent a number of medical tests, though the beings did assure them they meant them no harm. And yes, in the movie, Barney was played by none other than famous voice actor James Earl Jones. Project Blue Book, whose civilian advisor was Dr. J. Allen Hynek, took an interest in the Hills case. This, along with news stories, put the couple in the spotlight. They would both talk about the case for the rest of their lives. Sadly, that was not long for Barney, as he passed away in 1969. Betty lived on until 2004, often discussing her experiences with those interested. Most of the tapes and the notes Betty kept, along with some other items, were given to the University of New Hampshire. A lot of material is available to read online by simply typing Betty and Barney Hill into any search engine. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do give it the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you all next time.